Welcome everyone. This is a very beautiful autumnal day actually, and I hope you're going to enjoy the light coming through the video. So today's class is all about adaptability, and I'm going to guide you through the theme of this practice here in our Sukhasana, our meditation position. So feel free to keep the eyes closed or perhaps bring the gaze somewhere on the floor. As we move into September, nature reminds us of change. The seasons shift, the light softens, the air cools. Just as the earth adapts, we are too constantly moving through cycles of change in our bodies, our routines, our lives. On the mat today, we are going to explore what it means to be adaptable, to adjust with curiosity, to soften when needed, to stay grounded even as things shift. Begin to follow the flow of your breath and silently ask yourself, how do I usually respond when change comes? With resistance or with openness? Where in my life am I being invited to adapt right now? And set an intention for the practice. I flow with change. I adapt with grace. From here now, starting to move our hands up and down the legs. Perhaps moving the head sideways or doing circular movements here. So anything that feels good, any intuitive motion. With your eyes closed, just checking anything that needs to move. And then we're going to transition into a tabletop pose and take a cat and cow stretch. So as you inhale, arching the back, head forward, and exhale to round the spine. Again, inhale, bringing the gaze up, and exhale, round and press the floor away. Notice how naturally your body adapts to each breath. What would it feel like to welcome change as naturally as every inhale and every exhale? So keeping the eyes closed here for a few movements of cat and cow, bringing the awareness to the spine, to the adaptability of the spine as well as the whole of the body. And now lifting the right arm up, inhale, and exhale, sliding it underneath your left. Left arm can be brought around the back, and also you can choose to extend your left leg all the way back or even bring it completely over the mat. And also optional, you can, even for a few seconds, bring the left arm all the way up so the fingertips are facing towards the sky, just to provide that a little bit of a challenge here. And even if holding it for 5 seconds is enough, then that's fine. And now we're going to release, bringing your palms down, and now left arm comes all the way up as you inhale and exhale, taking the thread needle to the other side. Again, feel free here to do what feels right today. Either keeping your right foot down or extending the leg. And what happens when instead of forcing, you soften, even in the most comfortable of positions? And now let's release, come back into a tabletop position for one round of cat and cow. Inhale and exhale round the spine. So we're going to return back into a tabletop pose, and with the next exhale, taking that lion's breath. So we're going to try that once more. Exhale, open the mouth, tongue out, roar the breath out. And now we're going to lift the hips up and back into our downward facing dog. And here bend the knees deeply a few times, lengthening through the spine, adjusting, noticing how the back of the legs are, pressing the heart towards the top of the thighs, and then perhaps coming into stillness slowly. Or if you prefer, you can also pedal the feet on the spot. So bending one knee and then bending the other here a few times, really warming up the legs, the back of the legs, and noticing any sensation that is coming through here. Beautiful. And now gaze forward, rounding the spine into a plank pose. Chaturanga. Inhale as you're coming into your upward dog. And exhale back to downward facing dog. And now gaze forward, step forward. We're going to come into halfway lift, hands onto the shins and gaze forward. Exhale, forward fold, keeping your knees bent. And we're going to transition our weight forward and then backward. So when you're coming forward, see if you can lift the heels, and backwards, see if you can lift the toes. So just trying that a few times. If you want to add a challenge, you can close your eyes. Now inhale, rise to standing. Bringing the arms up as you inhale, and exhale, hands to the heart space. And once more, we're going to bring the arms all the way up, stretch it out. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift with your inhale. And then we're going to step out with that right foot. The left follows into a plank pose. Bringing the weight forward, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, pressing back to downward dog. And here either welcoming stillness or perhaps finding a deep bend in the knees a few times. How does it feel to let the flow serve you instead of forcing yourself to fit into an ideal? And now we're going to again walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, standing up to rise. Arms coming up. And exhale, hands to the heart space. Inhale, arms up once more. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. And exhale, forward fold. Step it back with your left foot, then the right follows. Hold it into plank. And then Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, pressing back to downward facing dog. Let's hold it here for a few breaths, holding, finding the strength. And then we're going to lift that right leg all the way up. And exhale, bring it through in between your hands. So finding your warrior 2 position here. So opening your arms to the side with the palms facing down. Inhale. And then exhale, finding your reverse warrior. So coming all the way back. And then your extended side angle. And what we're going to do here is simply flow between reverse and side angle 3 times. So in your side angle, we exhale and inhale in your reverse warrior. So let's repeat that. And can you allow these transitions to be fluid rather than rigid? Where do you think you need the strength, and where can you soften as you adapt? And now from side angle, let's bring the gaze onto the mat, and we're going to start transitioning into half moon pose, but really just testing here and experimenting with the transition, lifting your back foot all the way up and then down until you find that perfect weight to hold you into your half moon as you bring your right fingertips onto the mat and opening to the left side of your room. Finding here that steadiness, that determination, and if you're losing your balance, you can always bring the gaze down in front of your hand. So let's hold it here for a few breaths, really working with the concept of adaptability. Is there anything you can do to feel this pose better? And now we're going to transition back into a warrior two pose. For one inhale and exhale, cartwheel the arms. Let's bring that right leg all the way up into a downward facing dog and then placing the foot onto the mat, lifting the opposite leg up, left leg, knee under the chest, stepping the foot in between the hands. So again, now taking that same flow on the opposite side, starting with warrior two. Nice deep breath in and out as you're building up that determination, and then coming into your reverse warrior. And then exhale, extended side angle. And then again, that's when we start flowing in between these poses. And now from side angle again, we're going to start transitioning into half moon pose, but really do it in a slow and mindful way. Even if you fail, starting again until you find your balance and until you can hold it. So bringing your left fingertips onto the mat, perhaps even bringing the gaze all the way up towards the ceiling, and let's hold it here, finding the breath. And what does this teach you about adaptability of the mat? Even the process of building up to a position. What does that teach you? It's not just about that end result, it's about the process throughout. Now gently, with control, bringing your back foot onto the mat, returning into a warrior two position, and then bringing both palms down, back into a downward facing dog with your left leg up. And then exhale, bringing the left foot onto the mat here, around the spine, coming into plank pose, chaturanga, inhale, upward dog, and exhale, pressing back into downward facing dog for that final stretch, and then walking the feet forward, bringing the palms down nice and deep, bend as we're starting to come into a standing position here. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, hands to the heart space. So I'm going to pivot here for this one so you can see me better, and I want you to bring the weight to that left leg and the left foot. So lift the right into tree pose, either by bringing your right heel onto your ankle, or perhaps the inner shin, or even all the way up towards your left inner thigh. So again, just taking that position and adapt to the position that feels better into your body. And then you can bring your arms all the way up, perhaps interlacing the fingers, palms up towards the sky. So finding a nice stretch into this position as well. Locking your gaze onto the ground. And if you want to challenge yourself, you can also open your legs into a tree, so really creating branches here with your autumnal tree. So arms are moving up and down in a beautiful and fluid way here, adding that little bit of a challenge when the upper body moves, but the lower body tries to stay steady. And now releasing that foot onto the mat. Shake it out a little bit, and then when you're ready, we're going to bring the hands to the heart space, grounding the right foot, and then coming into your tree pose on the opposite side. So again, you have your 3 levels, choosing whichever fits best for you today and for your mood. And then you can also bring your arms over the head once more, and just simply noticing how one side feels in comparison to the other one. Are you steady? Perhaps you're losing your balance here a little bit. And then again, if you want, starting to grow your branches wide. So the balance is never still, your body is constantly adapting. What helps you stay rooted when everything else shifts? And from here, releasing, bringing your foot back onto the mat. Arms coming all the way up, stretched out, inhale and exhale. Here, engage the core. We're going to bend the knees, bring the arms forward and find ourselves into a seated position. So just transitioning in that funky, more challenging way to find ourselves onto the mat. Then extend your legs forward. Perhaps you may want to keep a bend in your knees, flex the feet. And we're going to bring the arms over the head with your inhale. And exhale, we're going to come forward, making sure we're keeping the spine nice and tall. And we're going to repeat that a few more times, so keeping it nice and fluid here. Inhale, arms up, lengthening the spine, and exhale, coming forward. Repeating that. If you want, you can also make it more of a meditative state of mind by closing the eyes and really noticing the body. So if you want now, you can either continue with this fluid motion, or perhaps you can bring your hands onto the toes, and instead of staying still here, you can also rock sideways. So eyes closed and just letting the upper body move like a wave of the ocean. Keep bringing that meditative state of mind into this position. And now releasing, sliding the hands onto the thighs, scooping the hips slightly forward so we have that space to bring the upper body all the way down. Extending your right leg forward and bringing your right knee in towards the chest. Let's squeeze there for a few moments, and then bringing that right knee all the way over the left side of the mat, of the room. Extending your right arm to the side. And let's enjoy here this supine twist. Surrendering into the support beneath you. How does it feel to adapt by yielding instead of striving? Now gently releasing, extending your right leg and bringing your left knee into the chest. Hands onto the shin, squeezing it here for a moment, and then bringing your knee all the way to the right side. You can open your left arm into a T-shape or cactus, depending on how much space you have next to you. And let's stay here for a moment, enjoying the stretch, noticing the calmness and serenity now being invited into the body and into the mind. And now let's release here and stretch the legs out long. Arms by the sides, palms open. Let the eyes close and the whole body soften into the mat. Feel here the ground supporting you. There is nothing you need to hold on to, nothing that you need to change. Notice the natural rhythm of your breath. Just like the seasons, your breath is always shifting. Sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's shallow, sometimes it's long, and sometimes it's short. And yet, no matter how it changes, it always carries you. And as you rest here, imagine yourself as part of nature's rhythm, like the trees adapting to autumn's cool air, shedding what they no longer need, like rivers shifting their course, finding new pathways, like the earth itself, always changing, always renewing. Ask yourself gently, where in my life am I being invited to let go, just like the trees release their leaves? Where could I soften and adapt instead of holding tight? What new space might open up when I allow change rather than resist it? With every exhale, imagine releasing what feels heavy, outdated, or rigid. With every inhale, imagine receiving fresh energy, spaciousness, and trust in the flow of life. Adaptability doesn't mean losing yourself. It means staying rooted in who you are while allowing that space for growth and transformation. And before we finish our practice, let's repeat silently the following. I flow with change. I adapt with grace. And now with here starting to deepen the breath again, perhaps moving the wrists, the ankles, bending the knees, even bringing the knees to the heart space and rocking sideways. Just doing any stretch and any movement that feels good to the body. And then when you're ready, we're going to transition into a seated pose to close off the practice. Taking a nice deep breath in and exhale to seal the flow. Thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for having me in your space, in your house. And I will see you next time. Thank you.